Hey for lifers, this is Chatterday, season 2, episode 3, the March episode, and we're here with several guests. We have Mariano, who's I always get these wrong. Mariano, who's a newcomer to the
Reverse your
channel, and
camera.
we got Rusty Mechanic, who we just got off of his live stream celebrating 1,000 subscribers, a great milestone. Congrats, Rusty. And then we
Thank you.
got another regular on the Chatterday channel, Anthony Brown. So thanks to you all for being great guests. I'll give you guys a second. But today, let me bring up the stream, the slides. We're talking about Marvel Studios Phase 5, which just started with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We're going to be talking about that. So before we do that, let's go into the first set of slides. Oh, I think if I do it this way, it doesn't do that. Nah, we'll be okay. We'll start with the guest specs. For those of you who don't know, this is how we start off. We want to give you guys an opportunity. So the whole premise of Community Chatterday is to bring in folks that you may or may not know that are not necessarily big YouTube stars or reviewers that you might know. In this case, Rusty is, but I wanted to be able to open it up to anyone who has any part of the community that they're interested in talking about. So let's start off with Rusty. Why don't you let us know what's going on with you, Rusty?
Hi guys. So like Paige said, I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so that's an awesome milestone. So again, shout out to any of you that have subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it very, very much. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I am the Rusty Mechanic, and I have a YouTube channel called Transformers Masterpiece Theater. I'm actually going to be switching it over to just the Rusty Mechanic starting tomorrow. Now that I've hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm just going to make some small changes to the channel just to make it easier to find. But I do reviews, short videos, sometimes stop motion of masterpiece figures, and I'm switching all that stuff into sort of expanding my horizons, if you will, into legend scale stuff. Some other toys that I find interesting, like Voltron, maybe Gundam, who knows? But please take a look. I think, Paik, you're probably going to put links down in the description below, so please go ahead and check out my channel. And if you do enjoy the videos, please go ahead and subscribe.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rusty. And again, congrats on 1,000 milestones. If you guys just missed it, we were there at 8 o'clock and he gave away a Fans Toys Iceman as well as a couple shirts. So if not, try to make sure that you're there for the $2,000 subscriber giveaway, which hopefully won't be as long
We'll
as
give away my house.
All right, next up, let's go with Mariano. Mariano, you're new to the Chatterday show. Why don't you give us a little bit of background about you and what had you interested in finally taking the dive and joining Chatterday?
Let's see here. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have any show stuff. I'm more of like, I guess what you would say, one of the fans or YouTube watcher, and just looking for some channels, hopefully make some friends, and nice environment to where like you be free to talk with about stuff. And your channel and some others are some ones that like look like I can do that. And for example, with your channel, how you do a thorough transformation and like give like tips on like what to do, what not to do. And sorry for the lag if there's a lag. And like stuff the war, Transformer fan, you can see my partial number here, but like back from the original days, from the going all the way to like the 80s, and like all but like Star Wars, big Star Wars fan. And here recently I like GI from afar, and but like the classified series doing a really good job on it, and like I still like the 80s cartoon, but not to talk too much toy collector that like a fan, and this looks like wanted to try and like
Oh, did we lose you? Okay, there we go.
I'm there
Sorry, we lost
anymore
you.
because like
You cut off part way. So But I think we got you.
Okay.
We got
That's
you.
like,
The whole thing that you were saying about, just wanting to be part of a community, wanting to be able to talk about the things that you like with people who like the same things. That's really what the premise of Community Chatterday is. So thanks for joining. And then last but not least, one of our regulars here, Anthony Brown. I know you're excited about talking Marvel because you've talked about how you love comics and everything. So why don't you give everyone a little bit of background about you?
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Anthony. So great to be here. Mariano, thanks for joining the Chatterday. Rusty, congratulations on 1,000 subs.
Thanks, man.
Again, I love comics. I love Transformers. I love G.I. Joes. You can catch me in a couple of different places, not on YouTube, or at least not yet, on 2 different podcasts, Nerds to Men and the Infinite Danger Room podcast, where we talk mostly just comics, Marvel, DC, Marvel movies, basically the metaverse and everything that's going on. I've saved a lot of opinions that I was going to give out. Missed a couple shows just so I can make sure I give nothing but fresh content here in case you follow some of the other platforms that I appear on. But excited to talk comics and everything with the group. Peg, again, thank you for hosting this and putting this together. If you're new here, we hope that this is a place where you can join the community, be a part of it, and enjoy the conversation. And again, for someone like Mariano, that this is a safe space for you to come and enjoy and be present and just be surrounded by people who are here to have fun and just enjoy the culture.
Awesome. Thanks for the kind words. Always have a great intro from Anthony Brown, so appreciate it. All right, with that, we're going to get into it. We have a number of different segments that we have on Chatterday. We always like to switch them up, but the one regular that we always have is This or That. So This or That is a segment, if you guys haven't been here before, is where we talk about whether we put you up against two decisions, which usually are somewhat difficult, and you got to come on one side or the other. So the first one up, since we're talking about Marvel Cinematic Universe, we got to do This or That on whether you're a fan of, if you had to choose, are you a bigger fan of the TV shows or the movies? So give me a second to put that in the live poll. So MCU movies or TV shows. Give me a second. And then we always let our guests come on one side or the other. So the poll is live, and I'm going to open it up to the guests here and let them share their mind. What do you guys think? What side do you fall on? Movies or
That's
the TV
super-
shows?
For me, it's a runaway. It's
Some
got
of
to
the
be
shows are
the
good,
movies.
yeah. But movies. I think I might need to use
Definitely movies.
flashcards or something so like you can see what movies.
So it sounded like Mariano,
Those are
you said
some of the
movies.
shows are good. Movies.
All right, so Mario said movies. Anthony Brown, I think you were trying to say what you were interested in.
Definitely the movies for me too. The TV shows were hit and miss in places. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. began slow, then it picked up, then it died down, then it picked back up. I feel like Daredevil was probably the most consistent all the way through as far as just being excellent all the way through. And the movies, I mean, that's the reason we're all here, right? So I got to give it to the movies.
All right, that's 2 for movies. Rusty.
Yeah, I'll go movies. I won't be the weird guy that says the TV shows. No, the movies have definitely got the better overall writing and better overall storytelling. But they're movies, right? So I mean, they should, have that impact. And Anthony, I'm with you. You're right. Like some of the shows were hit and miss, and I think that might just come down to budgeting, right? Like the money is not necessarily there like they are with the movies to get the top talent and everything else. The movies definitely. I look forward to the movies a lot more than the TV shows. And sorry, Pete, before we keep going, Robert Showtunes asked if this was a spoiler-free discussion. I'm going to suggest it probably isn't.
Yeah, it's probably not. We're going to talk all the way through Ant-Man and the Wasp, since we're at Phase 5. So anything pre that, then obviously is free game, and even Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is still in the theater. So Robot Show Tunes, if you're, I don't know how detailed we're going to get into any individual movies, but if you don't know what happens at Endgame, then you probably want to switch off.
Well,
right?
listen. Anthony and I are drinking right now, so we're probably going to let stuff slip. So, Robert, thanks for showing up. You might want to take off.
Well, clearly you're drinking because you're calling him Robert. It's Robot Show Tunes.
Is it Robot Show Tunes?
Yeah, it was Robot.
Clearly, I've been drinking.
All right. So if I have to pick this or that, I definitely will choose movies. However, I will say if I were taking like a slice of what I'm enjoying more recently, I think I'm going to have to go with TV shows. And I think we'll get into it a little bit later, but I will just say that the reason being is that you just get a lot more time to develop characters and build larger stories, and TV shows become more attached to a lot of characters. That being said, I mean, the real reason why the MCU has been so successful is they tie so many of the characters and stories into larger forms across the different movies. So it almost feels like the movies are a TV series in and of themselves, just big ones that we see in the movie theaters. So I'm going to go with movies as well. And I think in terms of the poll, we got 100% a landslide saying that movies. So no one's the weirdo in the group.
I think that's a first for the poll, right?
Yeah, I think that is a first for the poll. So clearly not that divisive. All right, next up, we only have 2 this or that's because there's some other segments that I know they're going to take a little bit longer. So this or that, who is the more fearsome villain? So, or who do you think should be the more fearsome villain? Thanos or Kang? So kind of our main baddie from the first main arcs versus Kang. And again, this might be influenced by what you're expecting to see in Phase 5 or what is kind of leading up. Or maybe from some of the things that you know about the comics and what you're expecting there. So, really quickly, thanks Shoki Reviews for the $5. Met him for the first time on the Rusty Mechanics, and he's already donating. And he put just because Loki was a Disney Plus Marvel show, but you didn't even vote. The vote was 100%. So I don't know how that happened. And Loki definitely is one of the ones that is a really great TV show. All right. So Mariana already came out of the gates before I even finished asking the question, saying that Thanos over Kang. Why is your reasoning for Thanos over Kang?
Well, in all fairness, we don't really know the extent of what Kang's going to be doing now. Like in the little bit that I know of the comics, yeah, he's been shown to be a really tough bad guy. But like so far in Ant-Man and the Wasp, that was supposed to be the butt of the Council of Cranes, and like Ant-Man was able to beat him, or the Ant fan was able to beat him. I don't know how underpowered he was, but I was expecting him to be a whole lot tougher in that movie. And like he's not dead. He got sucked into a smaller. I don't think he's dead. He got sucked into a smaller universe. He's not dead, but he just seemed to get beaten too easy. So I'm hoping that they have like some good stories coming up in the future releases.
But the Kang's at the end.
Far, he's looking kind of like a wuss so far. Whereas Thanos killed his first real appearance. He killed Loki. And I was expecting Kang. I was expecting Kang, especially since he was saying, which one of the Avengers are you that I killed? And I was expecting him to go and do something like that to really be see how big of a threat he's going to be. And like, he didn't seem real wussy, but I'm going like, you weren't able to back up your talk.
You didn't come out of the gate strong, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he wasn't a little pushover, but I was expecting more from him. I was expecting him to be tougher. So for right now, Thanos, but we got introduced to King, so we need to wait. I feel we need to wait and see from the
Anthony, what about
aspect, from the comic aspect.
For me, I think that Kang is going to end up being a bigger villain. I mean, really, with Thanos, if you know anything about Thanos before the movies, the Infinity Gauntlet was his one story, right? That you can tell with Thanos. With Kang, there are several. So, from a comic standpoint, he has several arcs where he fought the Avengers. One of the guys who appeared in the post-credit scene in the Council of Kangs was Immortus. There's that. There's Rama Tut, who he is, and he actually ends up helping Apocalypse turn into Apocalypse in Sabanur, which is Apocalypse's first name. So, like, there's the ancient Egypt version, there's the Immortus version, and then there's this version. And so, the way that it's been stated by Marvel is that this isn't the Kang of the 616 universe that everyone comes to know and revere and hate. This one got sucked through time and was weakened and depowered. That's why he was able to be beat by Ant-Man. But if you look in the comics, there's a book called The Kang Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first 6 pages, he flies a spaceship that is shaped like a sword, crashes it into the middle of New York, gets out, yells, who wants some, and for the next like 8 to 10 pages beats down every superhero in the Marvel universe by himself. That's the Kang that I am expecting, and that's the Kang that I hope that we will get. There's a reason why, if you watch Ant-Man and Wasp in the post-credit scenes, Loki is sitting there quivering from the thought of Kang, because the Kang that he ran into, the man at the end of time, is that powerful that he made a god, right, in Loki, quiver in fear. So at some point we will see the resplendence of Kang, also his arrogance. I think that's the thing that was missing from this one. I thought the Kang in the Ant-Man and Wasp movie was just very ambivalent. And he's not a wishy-washy character. He's I'm here to chew bubble gum and take names, and I'm all out of bubble gum. I'm trying to keep it PG so that Peg doesn't get demonetized. But basically, that's the Kang that I want. Also, black supervillain. I mean, it's like Wesley Snipes, Passenger 57, always bet on black. So let's go.
So you're going with Kang. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Rusty, where are you landing on this or that? Oh, sorry, I didn't put it up on the poll. Let me do that.
Loki was all by himself. Loki was all by himself. He had there's the female Loki, but like it was just them two up against him.
Yeah, but he was, but the end of that Loki show is he was accepting the fact that he was getting to the end. Like he knew that this was coming to the end, right? Because at some point in that engagement, he says, "I don't know what happens next," right? Because he hasn't seen past this point.
Yeah.
Right. So I think he knew the end was coming, so he was just accepting it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Kang as well, and for all the abilities, the power that Thanos gave, right? It was a lot of it stemmed from the Infinity Gauntlet, and you had some idea from the fact that Thanos's abilities seemed more physical, right, in this universe or whatever universe that he was in, right? When you sit through Quantumania and watch Kang, and I know what you're saying, Anthony, you're right, he seemed ambivalent, but I think I think they wrote it that way because he needed to manipulate the Ant family, whatever you want to call it, so he could get out, right? But the minute that they showed the scene where Janet repowered his chair and he got his armor back, it was completely different, right? Then it became, stuff is going to happen now. And to me, there was always this overshadowing, like, like he's toying with them. That was the idea that I got out of the movie, and Kang in the comics as well, right? He manipulates, he plays around with the timelines, the multiverse, Thanos exists in this universe in this time, right? Kang exists everywhere, and that is way more powerful to me than Thanos. So I got to give it to Kang. Even if this movie didn't portray that, I think that's where this is going. We're going to get a villain where it doesn't seem like there's any way to beat this guy. It doesn't matter how you beat him, he's going to come back.
Okay. All right. So you're Team Kang. This was a really hard one for me. I think I probably have to go with, just because we don't know enough about Kang, I'm going to go with Thanos. And I think that's one of the problems I had with Ant-Man and the Wasp. They left his like power scope very like generic. Like he was shooting blasts down and everything like that, other than like kind of what we can infer based on his like time travel and quantum knowledge and stuff like that. He's clearly a bigger potential threat. Again, I think Rusty summarized it very clearly, succinctly, in that, Thanos, we were really thinking about one universe, not an entire infinite amount of multiverses. So obviously the scope of his danger is much larger. But I think also they took very different approaches. Like Thanos, they built up very slowly. Like you saw him at the end of one movie, you saw him being mentioned in another movie, very, very slow burn, while Kang came out pretty hard and fast. I felt like, when as far as when he was first introduced, one of his variants, we basically see him every single like major movie or TV show. We get a significant amount of information about him, but it's always still so nebulous, and I think that's on purpose. But for now, I want to say Thanos, just because I think also that's what we kind of came to expect with MCU. So being the first big bad that we've actually seen his whole arc. But we've definitely seen like Kang's threat, and I think in the comics, didn't Kang mess up Thanos in at least one of their encounters? I felt like I remember that happening, like, and it wasn't even close. Like it was like kind of like a joke. So I think Kang will be eventually, but for now, since we don't know how exactly Kang's being handled, I'm going to go with Thanos. All right, I'm going to close the poll here, and 70% of the people are Team Thanos here. I really do hope that they bring up Kang and do him right, though, because as Anthony and Rusty said, he is just a menace that just needs to be unleashed, and we're just waiting to see him like kind of come into his own.
Don't forget too, when we first were introduced to Thanos, it was a slow buildup as well, right? We were introduced to Thanos first when Ronan was introduced.
Yeah.
Right. So we didn't really know what Thanos is. For those of us that read the comics, we knew what Thanos wanted to do with the Infinity Stones. But for the rest of the people, it was, like when that end credit scene of "Fine, I'll do it myself," and he pulls out the gauntlet. Well, nobody knew what that meant, but there's a threat coming. Right. So there was a buildup there too. I think it's hard for us to compare because we've seen the entire arc of Thanos and we've only just seen the start of Kang. Right. So
yeah. All right. Well, that was this or that. Let's get to the next segment, because we're already close to halfway down the hour, and I do want to keep this to about an hour to hour and a half. So we haven't done this in a long time, but Power Rankings is one of the segments that we haven't done. It's one where we're going to go through all of the Phase 5 movies and TV shows and talk about which ones and rank them amongst ourselves as a group collectively here, and with some input from the audience, and see where they might rank in terms of where our anticipation or hype factor is. Because obviously we can't review them except Ant-Man and the Wasp, but the rest of the ones we definitely can. And so we're going to go with that. So give me a second. So this is going to be, I'm using Tier Maker. Give me a second. I got to switch over to that tab. Let me remove this one. Stop. Share. And we're doing this one. Okay. So there's actually a number of different movies and TV shows that are going to be part of Phase 6. And then they actually included some other ones that I didn't think were really part of it. They went out of order again. All right. Well, we'll try to make do. But we're going to skip some of the ones that aren't actually officially part of Phase 6 yet, like Spider-Man isn't.
Deadpool
isn't.
Deadpool isn't. Yeah.
And I think there was one more that wasn't.
I
think Secret Invasion is actually part of 6, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the end.
No, it's actually, if you look at the calendar, it's supposed to be coming out in the next month or two.
Oh, sorry, it's Fantastic Four.
Oh, Secret Invasion. Sorry, yeah. It's the show, right?
Okay, all right. So let's start off first. I had them in order, but I guess they got mixed back up. So let's go through. And again, this is kind of like our anticipation or hype factor that we're looking for here. Obviously, not a full review, and then we'll just talk about a little bit from each of them. So I think we've already talked enough about Ant-Man, so we don't have to go into a lot of detail. But what did you guys feel? Did you feel like it was S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, or D tier in terms of a movie?
C. For me, it was about a C. I think they watered down their own product by the way. I mean, that movie wasn't well received, but also, if Kang is your big bad, everyone just kind of said, if this is your guy, you just made him look super weak. So why would anyone want to continue to watch this?
Yeah, I think Mariana said that before too, right? But again, they tried to make up for it by saying this was only one of thousands at the end credits scene, right? And he was one that was outcast by the others. So if he was that easily outcast by the others, and he was still such a threat, then what are the others teamed up are going to be like? Yeah, so I know, I think, Marian, you said B. I think I heard you say B. Okay. Anthony, you said C. Rusty, where are you?
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to go with a B from a, what do you call it? Anticipation standpoint, because Phase 4 was, is there an F tier? Phase 4 was kind of slow, right? Like, we had Thanos, and then, the big bad is gone, so now we don't have a big bad for the entire Phase 4. So to me, Quantumania was B for the anticipation factor, because I knew we were getting a new big bad that was Thanos level. So I'm going to go with B.
All right. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I think because, there were a lot of rumors about, Phase 5 being kind of like the passing of the torch, really the rise of the new level, even Phase 4, right? With, the new Hawkeye, the new Cassie being the new Ant-Man. I thought the threat and the fear was really going to be established by the rumored death of Ant-Man. So when that didn't happen, I was actually kind of disappointed. I thought like they were going to kill him off, and then that would again kind of cement the fear in us. And so when that didn't happen, and I thought the story was kind of weak, and especially Michelle Pfeiffer's character, like the first half of the movie, she's like, I'll explain everything when we have time, but just trust me. I hate that kind of cop out. I feel like so I'm going to go with C, but it sounds like based on the two groups, we're kind of split here between B and C. So we'll just we'll give it the benefit of the doubt, since it is the first movie. We'll put them in B for now, and then we'll see where the rest kind of fall. We have other folks that, like Slow DK, said C. He said C. Really,
probably D. Make up your mind, Slow. You're slowing us down.
Rest of you with this. So let's put them in B for now. The next movie on the list is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So where are we in terms of anticipation on that movie?
I'll give it an A.
A or S?
The Guardians are always fun movies, right? Yeah. So I'll throw it an A for no other reason than they're fun. They're always fun movies. So.
All right. Mariana was agreeing with either A or S. Oh, the holiday special?
Especially like what we learned from the holiday special. I was not really expecting nothing from that, but we got a good reveal. Mantis, and like, it shouldn't have been too hard to figure out. Mantis and Quill are brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And like Mantis and Drax are like so funny. And I wasn't really expecting anything from that.
Well, I mean, do you guys? I mean, they're kind of foreshadowing the same thing. That you think they're going to do a bait and switch with like Quill's death in this one, or not? Like, okay, so Anthony, where's your anticipation factor on Anthony Brown? on Guardians 3.
C or D. I haven't. The first one was okay. The first one was good. The second one was mid. I'm not really looking forward to this third one. I think what happened is they try to go back to the well once too often. The first one was great with the soundtrack and everything that they did. They tried to do it again with the second one, and it didn't hit for me. Also, I mean, Star-Lord, if you've heard some of my takes on him, he's supposed to be like a cosmic Casanova. And this guy is the guy from Parks and Rec, except for in shape. And that's not who the Star-Lord is in the comics. And so I'm like, this guy, he doesn't do anything for me. And so I guess this is supposed to be a light-hearted comedy franchise. See, Shoki's right. Oh, Shoki switched up.
I like this Star-Lord.
Wait, I don't know where Shoki, because you said C and then A. But it seems like most people are kind of thinking yours is the hot take here, Anthony. I'm gonna go with. I probably would go. I'm with you though. I'm being real here. The first one I thought was great, maybe because the expectations were super low. People were like, Guardians of the Galaxy, who are these guys? And then they came out way above expectations. I think the bar was set high for 2, and they did not deliver on 2. 2 definitely. If you guys thought that was a great movie, I don't know what to say.
I didn't think it was spectacular, but it's good. It was good. I like.
Yeah, but so I'm hoping this, is like the closing trilogy finishes out strong. So I'll split the difference with both of you, both the group, and I'm going to say B. So we got 2 A's, and I think like a C or D. So we'll put this. I feel like I have expectations of it being better than Quantumania, though. So we're going to put it at B tier for now. We might come back and revisit it. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Next up in terms of the movies is the Marvels. So Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
B.
Where are we thinking on this one?
B.
B for Mariano.
B.
All right.
B. I like those characters, but not as much as as the others.
Yeah, I'm honestly not a huge fan.
And I liked Miss Marvel.
I did not. I thought it was.
And I liked
Miss Marvel. One of the worst shows. Like I had to force myself to watch it.
I liked,
and I was really just watching it because I knew that there was a cameo at the end. No, I thought it was god awful.
I liked seeing her culture and what they have to go through, because like as a minority, it's like it was cool to see.
Dang.
Another
D-.
It was cool to see
hard D.
Another Z.
Yeah, Frank, nobody is looking forward to the Marvel. All right. Well, let's see. So let's see, Anthony. Where are you on the Marvels?
Hard A.
A.
Hard A. My guy Marvel. If he's in the movie, my anticipation is if Marvel is in the movie, I'm in, because Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, is one of my favorite characters. He fathers a lot of characters down the road in the Marvel universe. And so now that Marvel has won the lawsuit and they get to use the name Captain Marvel and he can be a male, I want them to bring Marvel into the Marvel universe, because if you look up his death, like the death of Captain Marvel, he died from cancer. It was a huge story. It was the first time that they had done anything on that level. And all the heroes of the Marvel universe came to his funeral to honor him, because that's the level of hero he was. Obviously, there are some problematic Captain Marvel stories that you can't tell with the Carol Danvers one, and like how she ended up getting her powers because she was the victim of sexual assault.
Yeah.
Kane ties into that as well. And obviously we can't go there in 2023, but my anticipation is high just because I think we may get Marvel. I thought at the beginning of the first Captain Marvel movie that Jan Rog was going to be Marvel. And so I was so pissed off when I was just like, Jan MF and Rog, like, give me Marvel, because that's who mentored Carol in the comics. when she first got her powers. So I'm like,
yeah, but do you think they're actually going to make him a big part of the story? I feel like not.
I think they might, just because they're re-releasing all of his stuff.
Yeah,
and
but
so
then
this
like,
omnibus available now is something that Marvel just they just put his stuff back out on shelves, and usually that's foreshadowing when Marvel has a movie coming up, because
they try to
they're
educate
re-releasing
people.
all the Carol Danvers stuff in omnibus form and everything else. So if you give me that, like, that's the only reason my anticipation is so high, is I want everyone to come to love this character.
I don't think they're gonna like swerve though, where it's gonna be a brand new character who's gonna kind of like take a significant part of the story. I feel like it's gonna be more Captain Marvel. It's gonna be more Miss Marvel. It's gonna be what's her name?
Rambo.
Was that
Rambo?
Monica
yeah.
Rambeau.
Carol, Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambo.
Yeah.
So
I feel
I
like it's
don't.
gonna be focused on them.
I hate to burst your bubble, Anthony. I thought that they had called the person that built the light speed spaceship in Captain Marvel. I thought she was Marvel, or the lab, the fortress that the Skrulls were hiding out in. Wasn't that Marvel's lab? So wasn't that her?
You think they're gonna like retcon that though?
I doubt it.
Yeah,
Why
because I
would
do
they?
remember that too. Because yeah, she was
I think
Marvel.
I think her name was Marvel. So I hate to burst your bubble there, buddy, but I don't think you're getting what you're asking for.
Well, give
And I
me Jeeves Vale,
apologize.
give me his son, but I need something more. I don't know that a female-centric movie is going to carry it. So, I mean, I'll go with whatever you guys want to give this a grade on, but there's going to be a male romantic lead in there, unless they decide to take a really huge step with a Marvel movie and say, hey, there's going to be, an all-women cast, and away we go with that. Not that there's anything against that
They kind
or
of
anything wrong with that.
Widow. There was no real romantic opposite there. But
Which one?
That also didn't do that great.
Nick Fury was in the first one.
Huh?
Nick
Black
Fury.
Widow, the standalone Black Widow movie.
No.
Oh, the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
What?
All right, so Rusty, what's your grading? What's your grading?
What's my grade? So I don't know. I'm gonna go with. I'm undecided, so throw it in B.
All right, are we just doing all B's? I'm just gonna put it in B because I want to put it in C, just because, like I said, Miss Marvel did absolutely nothing for me. I'm not excited about it. I like the original Captain Marvel. I don't know why what's her name got so much like grief. I mean, they gave her a really hard time. I thought she did an admirable job. I thought she did fine, but I'm not sure that
Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey.
Let me interject on that part, right? Like the Captain Marvel movie that they did, to me, it was nothing more than a cash grab. To me, the movie that they should have made in between Endgame 1 and Endgame 2 was Thunderbolts, because if you know the story of the original Thunderbolts, they came in after Onslaught made all of the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and those heroes disappear. And the Thunderbolts were a group of villains who came and filled the void. And basically a core of the original Avengers, Hawkeye, Black Widow, those people were left behind. And they discovered that Baron Zemo, who was in prison at the time, broke out of prison and started a faux hero band, a faux band of heroes. And I feel like that's the movie that they could have made, but I know that's not what they're going to do with this Thunderbolts.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna leave this one. I guess we're going straight B's right now, but we're gonna have to start making harder choices here. All right, so for the sake of time, we're gonna keep moving. Next one is Captain America: New World Order. So, formerly Falcon, now Captain America, leading his movie. All right, why do you want A? Why do you want A there?
A, because like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Disney Plus was like, I felt very good. And from this year, the second Captain America movie, they did such a good job on that. With Bucky being the Winter Soldier and stuff, I don't see how they would let the ball drop for number 3, especially with the first major showing of a Black Captain America, that'd be to me a major fumble for them not to have it be an A.
All right. I'm okay with that. So, what about you, Anthony? Where are you on the excitement
S.
factor? S.
S.
Wait, can I say
S
something
tier.
else? Sorry, Pate, can I say something?
All right, come on. We got to speed it up.
Hey, can I say something else?
Sure.
Real quick, though. Real quick.
Yeah, go.
I think Anthony needs to separate the comics. This is not the comics. They're taking from the comics, yes, but this is not the comics. I'm going like they're taking from the comics, yes, but this is not the comics. Let this be its own world, because it is. It's not the comics. It's inspired by the comics, but it's not the comics.
They take so much from the comics, and that since a lot of these we're anticipating, we don't know. Where he's just drawing from his experience. So I think that's fair. Like, I think judging some of the movies, like a lot of people do, saying that it's not like the comics, the ones in the past, I think that's a little unfair. But again, we're anticipating these movies. So, all right. So we got an A and an S. Rusty, where are you with Captain America: New World Order? You're muted.
Because I have a dog barking in the background, and that does not make good for good content. I'll go A. The Falcon storyline was decent enough. I like the street level movies more than the outer space ones, and that anyway. So I'm looking forward to it, to see where that storyline evolves to, and see if Falcon actually remains Captain America. Does it shift back over to Bucky? Are we looking at a new Captain America? And see where it lands. By the way, Anthony, I don't think they could have done Thunderbolts the way you're thinking, because all the characters that we knew from the comics, they didn't exist in the MCU yet, right? So they're all the characters they're using in the Thunderbolts are.
I think I think at that point they probably would have used different villains than the ones we got. Because honestly, the ones that we
could have. They could have, sure.
Are like half Black Widow villains, but
yeah,
I digress.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I'll go in.
Okay, I'm with you guys. I'm gonna push it to you go. I would push it to S, but since we had all A's and I think we had 2 A's, 1 S. I think it's somewhere up in here. When I put it up against the other movies that we have coming, I want to put it in S, because as who said it, Shoki. I've said this many times before in my opinions. I think the Captain America movies, all 3 of them, have been the most consistent out of all of the trilogies. Like, Thor is definitely a hit, and a miss. I think the other trilogies have or others that have sequels. Iron Man, even though it was the start, considered the start of the MCU, really, without all the retcons. But the Captain America movies, all 3 of them have been really good, and they're all very different genres. The Russo brothers, you got to remember, they started with Captain America before they did the Avengers and stuff like that, and they modeled each of those movies after different types of genres, and they've knocked it out of the ballpark. So I have really high hopes. I know some people were split on Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought it was a great show. I thought it was really good. So I have it as probably one of the top 2 most anticipated movies in Phase 6 for me. All right, we got to keep going. The next movie is Thunderbolts. We got 2 movies, that's Thunderbolts and Blade. So again, let's try to keep this tight so we can finish up in a reasonable hour. Let's start with you, Rusty. Where are you on the Thunderbolts movie?
So I would have said D, because I know nothing about the Thunderbolts, and I went, so Suicide Squad in the MCU, why do we have to keep repeating ideas? However, now that I've seen the actual movie poster of which characters they're using for the Thunderbolts, S.
S? Yes. Wow, that's a big turnaround. Okay. All right, Anthony, what about you?
I'm A to S on this one. I know that it's going to spin out of Captain America. I try not to do the spoilers, but also my comic knowledge is what informs my anticipation. Yeah. I don't hold them to the comic standard, because I know they can't make 1-to-1s on those, right? Like, some of the costumes would be ridiculous. and things like that. But I'm super excited to see where Thunderbolts goes and what iteration. And so whenever these movies are announced, I try to avoid the trailers, the posters, anything that may spoil it. I let my comic knowledge help inform my opinions, or help me understand the background and where they might go with the story. But I'm there to enjoy the movies.
All right, Mariana, where are you with Thunderbolts?
B because
B.
like I don't know enough about them I don't know enough about them and the lineup that they have. They're not characters that I dislike, but they're not favorite characters. It's like off the top of my head, Winter Soldier, but like Ghost and then the Russian Captain America. I don't dislike them, but they're But
All
I know
so
it's
we got
not going to
two
be
S's
bad. So
and a B. All right, I'm going to split the difference because I think if it was a different cast, I feel like they're just pulling too many from one movie. I feel like they could have pulled more from the different movies instead of literally half of them being from the Black Widow movie, which honestly was one of the weaker movies. Not to say I don't love Yelena. Yelena's great. She's probably one of my favorite of the next generation Avengers. But the others, like, I don't know that I have a lot of love for them. And I was hoping it would just be more of a hodgepodge of kind of like the Suicide Squad where they don't know each other. And so a lot of it is conflict. But, again, half of the cast know each other in some way, shape, or form pretty closely. So I think it could be done well, but it has to be executed well. So I would have normally have put it at B, but since we already have a B there, I don't think I'm going to be able to bring it all the way down to a B. So we'll put it at A for now. All right, moving on to the last movie of Phase 5, which is Blade, which has been long anticipated, even though it's one of the first superhero movies that we even got before there was a cinematic universe. Where are we in terms of anticipation there? Mariana is already nodding his head with A.
A.
All right. Any back support for that? Any reason?
Okay, they have an awesome actor for it. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I can see him in my head. They had an awesome actor for it. We're getting into the supernatural. They did a good job with Werewolf by Night. Marvel's quality has been, for the most part, for me anyways, it hasn't gotten into C's. It's been like low B's to like S, and sometimes points where it can go beyond S. But they have a cool actor, and I'm really excited to see what they do with a movie with supernatural, in the supernatural realm. Vampires, werewolves.
All right, that's a good take. All right. What about you, Anthony? Where are you with Blade?
Again, A to S. The Wesley Snipes movies were good back in the day. And people didn't even know Blade was a comic book hero. But those movies were dope. Again, Wesley Snipes always bet on black, so you aren't getting anything less than an A or an S for me. I'm just trying to keep it 100. So I'm excited. I'm ready.
All right, Rusty, where are you?
Anticipation wise, I'm gonna drop it down near a C. Blade was fine. Sorry, Anthony. I just don't know that we need to redo a character like Blade. I'm not necessarily interested in the supernatural stuff. I'll give it a C because of Mahershala Ali, who I think is a super underrated actor. And I think he's probably but like one, right? I've seen him in other stuff where I go, this guy should be recognized more than just the one, right? I think he's going to smash it. Am I interested in the movie? I don't think so, but I think it's going to be a fantastic movie. But not super looking forward to it or anything. I keep forgetting about it, to be honest. So C for me.
Ooh, man. You're gonna be the outlier here. I'm A I like vampire stuff. I like the original Blade movies, even the later ones with Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel.
The first one, just the first one. Just the first one.
Just the first one. And yeah,
Not,
I mean, I
not
do
two
think
or
it is interesting
yeah,
that they're
not
taking
two.
it to a
Bring in
different, more supernatural. Not that we haven't had some of that. Like, obviously, we had Wanda and stuff like that, but this is more not magic, but more, I don't know, like monsters. It's like monsters.
Monsters.
Right?
Yeah.
Monster.
Yeah. Classic Frankenstein stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they'll do a really good job with it. Again, we already talked about the cast, so I think we're all kind of mostly in agreement, except for you, Rusty. So forget you. We're sticking with A on Blade. All right, so that wraps up all of the cinematic universe movies. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 TV shows. So we got to go through this pretty quickly because we have a couple other segments. So we might have to cut those short, but let's try to get through these. So the first one up for TV shows is Secret Invasion. So where are we on the anticipation factor here? I'm going to go first. I think this is the one that I think is going to be S tier. I think it's going to be one of those things that is going to blow the doors off. Like, there's going to be all these kind of weird retcons and callbacks, and you're going to be like, what? And so I feel like they're going to turn what we've come to know and like accepted on its head, and I think that's kind of what we need. Also, there are some rumors about certain people maybe coming back for certain roles, and I think Secret Invasion might be one of those where we get to see some of that. So yeah, I'm just really anticipating how they're going to handle it too, given that the way they handled the Skrulls was very different than how they handled it in the comics. So I'm more just interested in what direction it can go, and I think it could lead and basically kind of give us a direction more than we've seen with in Phase 5 that we haven't really seen since Endgame. So I have super high expectations for Secret Invasion. All right, Mariana, you were shaking your head. You're not excited about Secret Invasion?
No, I'm excited about it. I'm more interested, but I think it's going to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi of these TV series, where my expectations are really high. But then once I see it, I'm going, this is a set. This is not Obi-Wan movie quality. And that's what really hurt it. And that's the feeling that I'm going to get. That's the feeling that I feel I'm going to get from Invasion, because like, for some of the Disney Plus shows, you can tell they're on a set. And I'm going like, it's hard to go from seeing these characters in a movie setting and production values go down like what they did for Obi-Wan to a TV production quality. I'm going like, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are on a set, like, and like we can I could totally tell this is a set. I'm getting the feeling that that's what's going to happen with Secret Invasion. Is that it's going to be good, but because of like the pandemic and stuff, because this was, I'm pretty sure, made during that time. So I don't know how much they're really going to be able to do to make it as good as it could.
Okay, so what's your rating?
But when you're talking about like all the 8.
8, okay. All right. We gotta keep moving. All right, Anthony, where are you with Secret Invasion?
I'm with you. I'm S on this. Again, the comics inform my anticipation because the event Secret Invasion was okay, but the comic stories that tied in about who got replaced when, where, how. I mean, it was incredible. And I like that they're making this a TV show so that they can hopefully take their time and tell the great elaborate story that Secret Invasion is, because it needs the time and the space to breathe, to weave everything together and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're doing this or that, or this person was a Skrull, or that person was a Skrull. Yeah. And so I'll leave it there, not to spoil anything, but I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, and I kind of anticipate that that's why they made it a series, because I think it will be kind of like the beginning they'll kind of show that, this is what was happening. And then like, I feel like each subsequent episode is going to be almost like a self-contained episode where we're going to go back to a specific point or a specific character, specific arc. And then they're going to retcon that, right? In the sense that yeah, this is what you saw, but this is what was really going on. And I feel like that it's going to be almost episodic in that sense, and then there's going to have like a final episode that brings it all back and to the present. So I feel like that's how it's going to happen. All right, Rusty, where are you in terms of anticipation?
I'll give it a B. I like the scroll. I like the scroll characters. I like the I like Nick Fury. I like the idea behind the Secret Invasion storyline. When I first heard about it, my initial thought was, didn't we already do this with Captain America when we found out that Hydra was actually S.H.I.E.L.D.? It's kind of that same feeling. That's the only reason I would give it a B. I would give it an A, except it feels like a similar storyline to me that from a movie watcher perspective, and don't get me wrong, I understand the storyline in the comics, but from the movie line perspective, I'm like, it just feels like we already told this story. We're just telling it differently. Although it does play out much differently in the comics, but I give it a B.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point.
I don't feel like that's exactly the same, but
no, it's not exactly the same. But it just sort of has that feel, right? It's like that bait and switch, sort of. S.H.I.E.L.D's the good guys. Oh, actually, no, they're not, right?
No, but I mean, I guess that's the question though, because again, they kind of painted, the Skrulls in the comics, they were historically like evil, but in the MCU they've been historically kind of good, and even when they're replacing them, there seems to be a reason for them doing that. So how are they going to make the Secret Invasion where it's about infiltration and espionage, where the Skrulls are bad when they've already kind of canonically been labeled as good? So I think that curiosity is one of my highest
potential
points. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next one. Is Loki season 2? All right, I feel like this is the big one that a lot of people want to talk about. Loki season 2. Where are we in terms of our anticipation factor?
C.
Ah, get out.
A.
Get out.
A.
How?
A.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Tell me.
You got to explain yourself with C.
And then you have to leave the show.
I'm just not as hyped for it as I am the other stuff on the list. Like, if you ask me which one I'm more hyped for, Secret Invasion or Loki, I'm more like, I love the actor that plays Loki and everything else, but I'm more hyped for Secret Invasion. I mean, again, it's good. I'm excited, but okay, maybe not a C, B level.
I mean, you're more excited about the Marvels. Well, you were, because you were, but you think you're more excited about Ant-Man and Quantumania than you were about?
No, I said Ant-Man Quantumania was a C or a D. Like guys, I said, and the same thing with the Marvels. I said whatever you guys want to do with the Marvels, I'll roll with.
See, I feel like this needs to come down, and then Loki, it's got to be somewhere in this area.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll roll with you guys, whatever you want to do. But for me, my excitement is higher. Like, I'm a Fantastic Four guy, so the Secret Invasion Scroll stuff has a higher anticipation for me because I love the Fantastic Four. So anything that leads me closer to there gets me hyped.
Okay, all right, that's valid too. All right, so so we have a C right now for Loki.
B. I'll go with a B.
All right, we'll go with a B. All right, begrudgingly a B. Rusty, where are you? We already know where Mariano is.
I'll give it an A. Although I'll tell you, I'm pretty close to making it an S. And Shoki over there is losing his mind. But so I'm only going to give it an A because I was looking forward to season 2 with the end of season 1. I thought the Loki series was great, and out of all the TV series, I thought it was the best. And when they left that teaser right at the end, like everything's changed, and look, there's Kang, right? That made me super excited for it. Then you throw the post-credit scene. Sorry, spoilers, everybody. Post-credit scene in Quantumania, and I nearly came out of my seat, right? But I'm not gonna. I don't want to put it in an S because I don't want my expectations to be completely destroyed. So I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna go with A. Very close to an S. I'm gonna put it at an A.
Okay. All right, Mariana, you're A. So, any reason for the A? What are you?
Can I explain why? Yes. Okay. Not to harp too much on Anthony, but I am not deep into the comics. I know some. some.
That's
like,
that's
I do
fine.
research
That's fine. It's a
when I
you started out this conversation saying you wanted to come to a safe space that we could all have our opinions. That's Anthony's opinion, right? So what's yours?
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not taking away from that. I'm just saying that, like, I forgot what I was going to say, but anyways, that, like, I don't know a whole lot from the comics, but from Loki 2, I got to learn more about Kid Loki, the female Loki, the politician Loki, the alligator Loki, the frog Loki, and then getting to learn, like, about this Kang who cannot be named and stuff. So, like, that's one of the things I really liked about it, is we getting to learn more about this story, more about these characters, and more about, like, why Loki is the way that he is. And then, like, okay, Kang is supposed to be the next super big bad. Okay, we should be learning a whole lot more about why Kang is going to be the big bad in Loki season 2.
Valid, yeah. I think that's good.
And
I'm in the
like,
same boat. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I probably would be A or S tier. Loki season 1 was definitely one of my favorites. I hope they don't spend all of the time just worrying about Kang. Like, I think that would be a disappointment for me if they just spent all of their time just focusing on Kang. But I love the characters. I love the different stories. I love that we also got to see kind of a different take on the redemption arc of Loki, because he wasn't the Loki that we saw get redeemed. You know, he was the time displaced one, and we still see him get redeemed to some degree. So I really like that. And I also just like the general humor and stuff like that. So I'll just leave it at that. Loki season 2 is one of my most anticipated TV shows for sure. Probably only behind Secret Invasion, because of the fact that Secret Invasion is just such a mystery. All right, next up. Somebody asked the question: is Deadpool 3 a TV show? Because we have scripted on the movies. We're not doing Spider-Man freshman year, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool 3 because they're not technically officially in Phase 5 yet. We don't know exactly where they fall, so that's why we're not going to do them. It was just part of this tier maker that I had already pulled up. All right, so the next movie is What If Season 2. I'm going to go first just to be really quick. I liked What If, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not all that interested in seeing what's gonna happen with the What Ifs. They're like fun, departures, one-offs. But I honestly would be okay giving What If season 2 a C, unless they do something super interesting. Like, I think they said that they might continue with some of the zombie stuff. That might be interesting, which might bump it up to a B. But honestly, I could have lived without What If season 1. Like, if I've never saw that show, it would not have impacted my opinion about MCU one way or the other. So that's it for me. All right, Mario, no differing opinion. What is your grade for What If?
I don't. It's gonna be like a B or an A, but like 89. 89.5 because, like, I really like the stories, and it ties in to, like, the movie stories and stuff. And, like, yeah, I understand and see your point of view, and that, like, you could take it or leave it, but, like, I'd rather take it. And, like, I'm looking, and, like, the art style, the animation style is gorgeous. I'm going, like, it is so nice to look at. And
Shogi's with you, A or B at the worst.
Top it off, it has like.
Robot Shogi said that there might be doing Marvel 1602. That would bump it up for me. I like 1602. All right, Anthony, where are you with What If season 2?
I'm B or C. Like, it's a side dish. It's not the main course. It's some filler stuff to get people to watch it, to sell some action figures, stuff like that. But by and large, it doesn't advance plots or stories. It goes back and rehashes some stuff, just like the comics did. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but I'm not too hyped for it. I'll watch it to watch it, but you know, it just kind of is there.
Yeah. Also, they did Thanos dirty in season 1 with that Ultron. That was messed up. How you can mess Thanos like that? All right, Rusty, where are you? We're kind of divided on this. We got an A, we got a C, we got a B.
S.
S?
Yeah, you know why? So okay, so what if gave us some lead into the multiverse, which we got from Spider-Man and then we got from Doctor Strange, right? Now they introduce Kang, and Kang is a multi-time multiverse villain. I can see them building up a lot using What If for Kang. So and I've always loved the What If comics, the alternate storylines. So I'm super excited, and Mariana brings up a good point as well. I love the animation. I thought the animation was fantastic. I thought it was beautiful animation. I'm super excited about What If. To be honest, I think we're going to see a lot of. I do not want to see Ultron Vision again. That was too much, man. That was like there's no way to stop this thing. Like how did it even get, anyway. Yeah, it's an S for me because I think we're going to see a lot of build up for Kang in What If. I think we're going to see a lot of teasers for Kang. I think it's going to be interesting.
We were all over the place with this one. We were like S tier, C tier, A tier, B tier. So we're just going to put it at the high B for now, just because we already have a lot in A. All right, moving on because we have to move on. Next is Ironheart.
How about that whole Marvel is for Ultron? I bought that whole wave. Didn't really want any of those characters, only to get the Ultron.
Oh, the build-up
only
figure.
To get the Ultron. That's how much I liked it.
All right, Ironheart. I'm going to start with Anthony Brown because he always bets on black, so I feel like that's got to be in one of the tiers up here. What's going on with Ironheart?
I give it an A as far as my anticipation level because I thought the person that they cast for it did a phenomenal job. And she was very charismatic and captivating. And again, unlike the character in the comic seemed like the way that she's portrayed has some kind of like not Down syndrome, but like she's off a few degrees. But this girl in this, or the way that she was in Black Panther, was phenomenal. And I wish she would have been a lot more in the movie and a part of the story. So I'm excited to see where her story goes and what they do with her.
All right, Anthony, that's good. Mariana, where are we with Ironheart?
Let's see here. I would say B, because my interest, I don't know enough about her. And like she was in Black Panther 2, she wasn't bad, but she was more of like not really important. She was kind of like hearing, and especially like hearing what other people were saying, she was just kind of forced in like a plot line or a plot device. It's like, oh, she made the machine that detects vibranium. And like they could have plugged anyone else. They could have plugged just about anyone else to have done that. But for what she does in it, and she is in it, I like her. I like the character and stuff. She's kind of like Shuri's little sister or cousin. So I do like the character. And like the bad guy is supposed to be the Hood for her TV series, and he doesn't seem that interesting. But I don't know. I'm gonna watch it, but like I don't really know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'll go next. I'm kind of with Mariano. I feel like they did do a weaker introduction for her. I thought they could have done more with her. Maybe it was just because Black Panther Wakanda Forever was already long. Trying to add more to her arc probably would have taken away from some of the others. But I feel I'm interested in her character, like Mariano is, but I feel like they could have introduced her better and played her stronger. But I agree with Anthony. I thought she was a really good actress. I like the way she was portrayed. I want to see if they do any of that stuff with like the Tony Stark AI and her, really how they're going to tie her into like his legacy, because obviously that's a major part. There are some rumors about how that might be handled. So I'm right now, just because I feel like it's off to a weaker start. I'm probably in like the B area with this one. I would say it's lower for me than Guardians, but higher than the Marvels for me. So we're in kind of A, B area. We'll let Rusty, I think, round us out. Where are you in terms of your anticipation factor?
I had no interest in that storyline at all. I'm going to go with the C. I'm with you guys. Like I like the actor. I like the way she portrayed it. It just felt like another Iron Man storyline to me that we didn't need, and we got Armor Wars coming as well, which just seems like too much. Like it's like Tony's technology is just everywhere, and I don't think I need another Iron Man or a third Iron Man coming up. So I'm not really super excited about it, except for the actor. I thought the actor played the character very well.
Do we know if Ironheart's going to play a major part in the
Armor Wars? So it's weird, right? Because it started out as a TV series and then they flipped it into a movie. So it's hard to say, right, as to what the actual plot / storyline is. I could very easily see her being in that storyline. Why not? But who knows? Okay.
All right. So let's keep going. We got a couple left. We got Agatha and we got Daredevil. So Agatha, Coven of Chaos, obviously a spinoff from WandaVision.
B.
Where are we with this? Mariana B?
B.
All right. Is there any
Because
particular
she's
reason?
a somewhat cool character. Yeah, she's a somewhat cool character, but she's not all that interesting to me unless, like, I mean, it was cool when we saw some of her background from WandaVision and stuff, but, like, I don't know, it feels like she's kind of already played her part. I'm going, like, what else are they going to have her do? Unless, like, she's going to go after, do something with Wanda again.
See, the way you describe it does not align with the B to me. That sounds like a C or D. You sound like totally disinterested. And I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like, this is the one that I'm probably...
I'm still gonna watch it. It's good.
We're all gonna watch it. That doesn't mean that we're like... But the way you're describing, you're like, her story's over. She's kind of interesting, but what are they gonna do with her? Like, it seems like you're not really that interested.
But they're going to the point of making a show, so the potential I think is in it is B, because why are they going to make a show if it's over? Just because I think it's over doesn't mean that it's over.
That's true. So I'll go next real quick, just because I don't have a lot to say on it. Is again, I had this kind of same feelings. Like, I thought she was good in the role that she had in WandaVision, but I don't know that I need to see more of her story. Like, I don't know where that would go. And I honestly don't care. Like, Agatha is such a minor character in my history of Marvel that I don't see her really having a future. I'm just honestly shocked that they gave her a whole show to herself, frankly. So mine's kind of like, I would put her at D, but since you put her at B, I'll put her at C for now until we get some other opinions. All right, Anthony, where are we with
D to F for who, for what?
Put it
on time. D to F.
Just put it at D, man, because so it doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, either Wanda trapped her in Westview and she gets out, serves no interest to me at all. Why trap a character in a revenge storyline just to let her out? If it's a prequel, I don't think I care, because I think we got enough of a prequel in the WandaVision show that was enough. She's not a prevalent enough character in the MCU at all. Now, and by the way, John Hutch, I'm with you 100%. Such a long list of bland, unpopular characters. Just why? Yep. If it ties into Blade, then that makes it more interesting. But I have zero interest in this character or her story.
I think the actress, like, they probably signed her to a deal and she was trying to collect some checks, but she's a phenomenal actress, so she'll carry the show. But again, for who, for what?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mariano, you're voted off the island with
I think
Agatha. All right, last one up because we need to close this out because this is only one of the segments, and I need to get to a couple others, at least one other. All right, so let's go with Daredevil, Born Again. I feel like we're rehashing this one, but kind of a soft reboot, it seems like. So,
Okay, I'm going first. I'm going first.
All
It's S, except what they did in She-Hulk. Now I'm scared. If they're putting him in the yellow and red outfit as a comedian, I'm out. If you pick up where Daredevil left off on Netflix, I'm good. But if you turn Matt Murdock into a funny man, into Chris Pine or whatever, I'm out. I'll put it at S because I'm super excited to see what they're going to do with it. I'm a little leery about the 18 episode thing because I don't think we have the attention span anymore to do an 18 episode series anymore, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Throw me down at S.
All right. S is a good starting point. All right, Mariano, where are you with Daredevil Born Again?
It could be an S because like the quality of the writing when it was with Netflix was very high, and like Daredevil, once again, like I know him from the comics, but like I know him of the comics, but I didn't read the comics, and saw a little bit of them in like the Spider-Man cartoon, the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, and I liked the little bit that he was in there. I liked him from there. But then when I saw the Netflix show, it's like, whoa, he's a very cool character. And then like the design of the suit, like the comic, sorry, Anthony, but the comic version, it just looks lame. I'm going like, I do not the spandex look. It looks lame. It looks lame. But like how they interpret it for like the show, awesome. Awesome. That's why I'm getting the.
I haven't said anything yet
in the
about
comments because
Daredevil.
like I'm just saying like the designs of their costumes or suits in the comics. I'm going like that's one of the reasons why I don't get into comics very much because it just looks to me lame. But how they interpret it and make it for the real world, awesome. He looks so cool, and like this may be heresy, but I'm so glad they did not put the big DD on him, on his chest. I'm going like, okay, Batman is not going to put Batman or BM on his chest. He has the bat symbol. He doesn't need BM or DD for their. I'm like, no. I'm going like,
wow, this is John Hutch coming with a hot take. Mostly boring with a few nuggets of interest. Dang, no way. All right, Anthony, where are you? We got one S and one A.
I've got an S. We forgot the Echo show, but in doing this, but also Echo should be forgotten again. That's another for who for what.
Oh yes.
To me, but yeah, this is an S. It was the best thing that Netflix did. I'm with Rusty. Don't want the yellow and red suit, but. Just give me Daredevil in whatever fashion because it was phenomenal. The character's phenomenal. The current story that's been going on for a couple of years is phenomenal. They're bringing back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. So, yeah, sign me up. Let's do it.
Yeah, Charlie Cox did a really good Matt Murdock Daredevil. Glad he's back, and they're bringing back what's his name for Punisher too. So I'm with you guys. We're gonna put him at S tier, which is super high. For me, I would put it just below Secret Invasion, which I also had an S, but I'm okay with this order. And okay, well, let's do Echo real quick.
D.
For who for what?
I would put it like low C or D, above Agatha. But Mariana, do you have a strong opinion?
I would
say
C.
All right. That's a D, man. Come on, that's not. It's the only thing we might get out of it is Kingpin. Kingpin leading into.
That's the thing. I like D'Onofrio, and D'Onofrio has been like confirmed as the main villain, and I do want to see how it goes. And again, if there's some crossover characters from Daredevil and so forth, I could see it being a potential. But the Echo character itself, I don't really care.
If they called that Kingpin, S. They call it Echo D.
She's a great character. I hate what they're doing with her now, where she's the Phoenix.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Where she's taking the Phoenix power. But I mean, she does take over the Ronin mantle at one point. She fills in for Daredevil at one point. So I mean, she has a lot of ties to the character, but I mean, there's a reason why she hasn't really had her own standalone comic like Agatha Harkness. Like for who, for what? I feel like it's representation for representation's sake. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, to me it's a cash grab.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with Agatha, right? Like they're both fine characters in the roles that they played, but they didn't seem worthy enough to justify their own show. So we could be proven wrong. Again, we'll see. But this is kind of our list for today. This is our tier list for MCU Phase 5. We got S tier, Captain America, New World Order, and Daredevil. A tier, Secret Invasion, Thunderbolts, Blade, Loki Season 2. B, What If Season 2, Guardians Volume 3, Ironheart, The Marvels. C, the already released Quantumania, Echo. And then D, we got Agatha. So that's it. We didn't we left these off because they're not officially part of the MCU phase 5 yet. But we'll get back to them at some point if they do get added. All right, so let me remove this one. And then I got to bring back our.
Why didn't we do any of the Avengers?
Because they're not on Phase 5.
They're not Phase 5. They're Phase 6.
All right. Let's move on. Let's see. I think we've already done plenty of hot takes, so we're going to skip over this one. I think. I wanted to go through some Q&A because I always like to give an opportunity for us to share some questions with each other, and also open the floor up to the audience to see if they have any questions about Phase 5. So I'll lead off really quickly. I wanted to just start off with saying, what do you guys think of Phase 5 and like the plans that they have? You know, it's coming off of the heels of Phase 4, which is has been a ho-hum thing. Are you guys, you know, based on what we're seeing here, it seems like you guys are pretty excited about it. But what do you think it needs to happen to bring back kind of the heydays of the MCU success? Like, what do we need to do to make it, you know, a must-watch? Because I know a lot of people, myself included, have not been going to the movie theaters to watch the latest movies in Phase 4 and even Phase 5. They've been waiting for Disney Plus and so forth. So, you know, that was not the case with the Marvel movies, where literally every single movie, everyone is out there breaking records and so forth. So what do you think about Phase 5? Do you think we're going to get back to the heydays? If not, what do we need to get there?
So the thing that we lost with the end of Phase 3 was a big bad, and the thing that Phase 4 did not give us was a big bad, and I think we have it now, right? We have a lot of build up around Kang. There's a lot, like we've already talked about it, right? Kang is a threat. So I think we have that now, and I think we can build some really good stories. So I think that's what the MCU needed, was they needed some big bad that they could build the storylines around, to build up to get all these characters involved that everybody has to pull together to, you know, defeat the villain. So I think it's exciting. And Shoki, who's on here, we've talked several times about the fact that Phase 4 felt like the ICU. You know, like the MCU was sitting in critical stasis, and it was we were just keeping it alive, just telling stories just to keep it moving, but it was missing a Thanos. And I think we have that now. So I think we're good. So we'll see. Agreed. Yes, Doctor Doom. But this is the other problem with the MCU right now, right? Is that we're still waiting on the X-Men storylines, the Fantastic Four storylines, right? And that is what the MCU is missing as well. We had all the classic characters: Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, right? The characters that were the core of Marvel Comics when we grew up. The characters we were missing were the X-Men, Fantastic Four, that were not part of the MCU, and they are coming. And I think that's the thing that's going to save them. But we have to be patient and wait.
All right. Emphatic. All right. Anthony, you were excited. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to call the quick clear out, right? Like I'm going to run with this for just a sec. So to me, this shows the problem with the Avengers, right? Like, the Avengers if you know the Avengers, they really only had the one story, right? And even though it wasn't their story, it was the Infinity Gauntlet. When you look at their canon, or I mean, if you look at their history of villains, how many people can name Avengers villains that they fought? There's a reason why when Marvel was selling off their movie properties, Fox bought the X-Men, they bought Spider-Man, they bought those other franchises and the Fantastic Four, because they have a richer history. And so what we're experiencing now is kind of the reason why the Avengers were always left in the past when it came to the comics, right? Like, who paid the freight for Marvel for all those years? The Fantastic Four. That's why they had all the cartoons. Spider-Man, he had all the cartoons and figures and everything else. And the X-Men. The moment you introduce the X-Men, every other franchise dries up. Everyone is waiting on the X-Men. That's why they're milking this out, because the moment an X-Men hits the scene, I mean, because when you look at Doctor Strange, right? They did a bunch of reveals, but when Professor X showed up, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, is this it?" Right? Like, and they were waiting for that moment. The same thing with the Fantastic Four. I love the Fantastic Four, but if you look at the Fantastic Four, there are two stories that they can tell, right? Doctor Doom, who is the biggest big bad you can get, and then there's the coming of Galactus, right? Which to me is going to be like phase 25 or whatever phase they get to. And because once you tell a Galactus story, you're kind of dried up on Fantastic Four stories, right? Like those are the ones.
Yeah.
And so when you talk X-Men, you've got Phoenix, you've got Phalanx, literally I could like the Sentinel stuff.
There's so many storylines.
And so the X-Men are so big that they don't leave room for other oxygen for the other franchises to breathe.
Yeah.
And so with me, I enjoyed phase 4 because WandaVision was great. Loki was great. Captain America and the Winter Soldier were great. Those three were great. But as you pivoted into the other series, that's where it took a lull. And to me, that's where you could have told this Ant-Man story, because it seems like it was more of a made-for-TV thing, that if you maybe gave it more time and more space, then the Janet stuff would have made more sense, and you could have done more with it. And to me, that's where we're losing it, is a lot of the stuff is made for TV, and the movies haven't had the same gravitas, because the Avengers, after you told their big story, everyone's looking around, because look at what they did from the biggest Avengers stories that they've told, right? Civil War, they've already done. Secret Invasion, they're doing. They aren't going to do, this Shattered story where Wanda goes crazy and then she kills everyone, right? Like the next big anticipated story is Young Avengers, because all the kids become Avengers because the old ones get killed, and so that's the story that they could tell next. But you have to get to that point. But they've already done that with Wanda with the Darkhold story. So there's a lot there. In Mariano, I know I'm talking a lot of comics, but to me, that's why we're in this lull, is because they aren't telling original stories. They're pulling from the comics to weave the way. But when you look at the Avengers history, they were never the A franchise. Marvel made them the A franchise because those were the only movie rights they had. If Marvel could have started this with a bigger franchise, they would have, and it would have had better results.
But we have to remember that in the comics, the characters never age, right? So Marvel is on a timeline because Robert Downey Jr. is not getting any younger, right? Chris Evans isn't getting any younger, right? So they have to pull those big stories and run with them right away. So there's burnout of the storylines and the movie characters and actors that were awesome, right? For phase 2, phase 3, right? Because they don't want to play this character for the rest of their lives, right? They're getting older, right? They can't keep up with the physicality and all that stuff. So there's that aspect of it too, right? That they have to tell the stories, and even from the X-Men perspective, like you're saying, I'm with you. There's so many stories that could be told from the X-Men, but how many of them can we tell before people get too old, contracts run out, blah 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 blah? So we have to pick and choose. They have to pick and choose what are the best stories that they could run with, right? And so we're in that weird situation right now with phase 4, where all the characters that got us all so hyped about the MCU are now gone. And now we're seeing all these copycat characters that are younger, like young Avengers, right? Like you said, taking their place. But we didn't fall in love with them. We fell in love with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, right? And now they're being replaced by someone else. And it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the kind of thing that, this is not our G1, right? When we see when people it's not G1.
You went G1.
Yeah, but I mean, just to kind of build off of that, I think the only concern I have is, as Anthony said, the stories that we can tell with the new ones. Honestly, I have never been a big Fantastic Four fan. I do like I think their villains are the strongest part. I have less interest in actual Fantastic Four themselves. Unless they do unless at some point they do, what's it called? The evil Reed Richards and it's the council,
Council of Reeds.
Yeah, what's his name? The one with the big brain. What's
from the Ultimate Universe? Ultimate Reed Richards.
Yeah, but what's his name?
I forget his name too. But that's the other thing related to Kang, right? Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards, and so I'm interested to see how they cast Reed Richards because. If Kang's black, right? Like at some point, Reed's a white guy. So I'm just saying,
I don't know if they're going to tie that back, though. I feel like they might not do that.
They won't. That's something that's a comic nerd thing. That's 100% comic nerd thing.
Yeah, but I think the only other thing I was going to say is those two franchises, because they've been handled so poorly in the past. I wonder how much hesitancy that we'll have from fans about. Maybe there's a lot of hope. I think a lot of people are anticipating, finally Marvel will do a good Fantastic Four movie and a good X-Men series since the first original ones. And so I think there's a lot on the line for them. So I'm hoping that these will be kind of the revitalization. But I also have another question that I want to ask if we can get to it. But I want to get over to Mariano and see if he has any opinions on what we need from Phase 5 for it to be a success.
Well, part of what I see is that we've had this humongous buildup and a whole lot of cool stuff happened with up to Phase 3, and a lot of people are down on Phase 4. But even Feige has said that this is Phase 4 is supposed to be a breather and math of what happened after the Infinity Saga is over. It's them recuperating, regathering, and adjusting to what's happened after. It's not meant to be have a whole bunch of exciting stuff and villains and stuff how Phase 1 through 3 did. And so that's the way I took it, because you have constantly big things happening all the time, and you have to have a low point to build back up, and that's what I'm thinking they're doing now with Phase 5, starting with Quantum Mania, and they kind of started in Phase 4, with Loki, and a little bit here and there if you're paying attention. In the other shows, they're already building up to it, and I have faith because in what they've been doing and what they're going to do, because they've been doing so good. I'm just have patience. I'm just have patience because the movies, a lot of them are hit and miss. And then the Fantastic Four movies, the first two, I didn't think they're that bad, but the first one, I'm what happened? And I just think need to be patient. People are I want to be cool, awesome all the time. Now, sugar rush. And I'm dude, calm down. They just went through all this stuff. Give them a breather. They needed themselves back together. And to me, this it can't be happening all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a moon at you. Now I'm going to throw a universe at you. And it's like,
I mean, that's a good point because, like, you know, it's hard to go. It's hard to go a lot bigger than after you do Thanos, then follow up with Kang. You know, you can, I guess, you can go Galactus, and then you start doing like the Celestials and stuff like that. And then, but then it starts kind of getting away from the groundedness that really made the MCU kind of what it was. It kind of grounded the comics in reality. So I feel like, you know, I guess that's just the nature of it. Again, like you said, Mariano, just getting bigger and badder just to try to keep everyone's attention. You know, you got to get more of that drug, higher dosages more frequently. But I think that is a good point. All right.
So we also forget that there were, you know, Thor 2, Iron Man 2 and 3 along the way. There were some duds in there. But I think that because it ended at such a high note, right? The way that they finished it off, like when they went basically from Civil War on, right? Like it was bang, 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 bang. Like it was, I mean, they were hitting home runs, like in the home run derby. And it was, you know, now that you've got some solid doubles and triples in there, we aren't as satisfied. But there were duds in the first, I'm going to call it the first phase as opposed to the second phase, right? Leading up to movies.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. All right, though. Again, for Q&A, do you guys have any questions that you want to bring up?
So for me, I do want to address something from the very beginning. Someone asked who the character was in my profile. It's Prodigy from New X-Men Academy X. So.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
That was the first. That was like the very first question that was asked.
Oh, yeah. All right. What about you, Mariano? Do you have any questions that you want to pose for the group or for the audience to ponder over with the MCU? Any questions that you have lingering in the back of your mind?
I want to see what they do with Kang because, yes, I kind of understand what they got to do something different. They can't do this they did with like Thanos. They have to do something different. So that's why I'm thinking that's what with this version of Kang that he got beat. So I want to see like how are they going to make him a threat, a real threat. The things I didn't like about Quantumania is that there wasn't any like real consequences. It really looked like in the commercials and stuff in the trailer, Kang is like smashing on his head, and they show him and his is breaking. So I thought there's a really good chance that like Scott was going to, but like they all got out. He not even like going like yeah he got the crap beat out of him, but like considering like how and stuff and where they're at, there wasn't anything that really bad, not any really bad consequences, or at least that we don't know so far as yet. Because like when he did come back, he said like, okay, is he really dead? And
yeah, I'm seeing some I feel like weird, they tried to like patch that in at the end.
Yeah. There wasn't like
I agree.
Strong enough consequences. They got off too easy, I felt. Especially
and again, I want them to be a little bit more specific about his like power set. Because right now, like again, other than the fact that we know he can go through different timelines, like what are his power sets other than knowing he knows a lot of shit, right? He knows a lot of like, you know, he says he's killed all these Avengers. How did he really do it? Like, is it just from his knowledge of and experience of having all these lifetimes? But like his for me, his power set needs to be a little bit more defined for me to find out how big of a threat he is. Because otherwise I'm just like, all right, he shoots energy blasts. Like, okay, but why should I be scared of him other than the fact that there's a bunch of him? All right. The one thing that I wanted to ask very quickly, I just want a real quick 30-second take on this one from each of you, is people are already complaining, right, about, bring back Iron Man. Do we think, do you guys have any desire to already even consider a reboot or soft reboot or trying to bring back the original, Avengers, bring back Tony somehow, some comic nonsense, bring back Captain America, some comic nonsense kind of thing? Or do you want to stay on the path and try to build out a longer storyline? Mario wants to say, stay true to the path. Let's follow through with their plan. In Fahey we trust, is what he's saying. Okay.
I don't like it playing safe all the time. To repeat tape over and over and over. I think they're smarter than that, and they have what it takes to stories. They've hooked me because like the comics weren't able to hook me. These movies were able to hook me because I did not care about Iron Man. I did not care about Captain America. I didn't care about Thor until these movies.
That's a good point.
So you're from the movie, from the cartoons, the comics. There's so many, and not on them, but there's so many. There's so many and stuff. It's like
it's hard to play
little kid. I can afford to like get them and like have access to them. So like I relied on the cartoons and stuff, and like a little bit of Iron Man and Thor and Captain America is like they look lame. Well, yeah, they look lame. I'm going like, how's that Iron Man? That does not look like an iron suit. I'm going to you put bolts and stuff on it. This doesn't make it iron. No. And like Thor, it's like, ooh, but like the movies, awesome. They took and like because they showed me that like there's just because like visually I don't like it, there's stories in there. And like I bought some of the omnibuses because that's where these movies came from, is from the comics. So just because it's like bad art doesn't mean that it should be totally ignored, because I feel that would be a mistake.
All right. What about you, Anthony? What about you? Do you want to continue forward on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for them staying on the path. I do believe that Black Panther, this could be a longer answer, but I do think that they should have recast Black Panther after Chadwick Boseman's death. But I'm happy that they stayed on the path. I know that a lot of people don't like Black Panther 2 and said it was a bad movie. To me, that was the cast. That was a love letter to Chadwick Boseman. And I'm all for it. I think that they needed to mourn, and this was their public way of mourning his death. A lot of people thought it was going to be like the first one, and I was like, then you didn't know what you were walking into. But moving down the road, I mean, again, there are plenty of stories where you can retell or reinvent Tony Stark and recast him down the road. And I mean, do what they've done with Batman, right? We've had 85 different Batmans. There are plenty of Marvel stories where they can tweak the ending to this storyline and that storyline and say this is the end of the universe, and then just come up with a brand new Marvel storyline and start over from scratch. So I'm fine with them going, because maybe what happens is at the end of the Kang story, he snaps his fingers, and instead of Wanda saying mutants no more, Kang says Avengers no more, and then we start with a brand new universe with the X-Men or with the Fantastic Four, and then we tell a decade of those stories or 15 years of those stories and move on down the road and say we're putting a bow on this, and then it's just these characters in this universe. Or you do some crazy tie-ins like they do during Doctor Strange in a multiverse sort of way. So there are plenty of different ways to get there. But right now, I say that we continue down this road. There's no need to bring Iron Man back, because there are millions of characters in the Marvel universe. Also, there's nothing to say that they can't create new characters that we can come to love and enjoy. It's one of the issues I have with them, doing representation for representation's sake, or changing people from, straight to gay, gay to straight, and everything else. I'm like, let's just create some new characters and make it that way, as opposed to, and again, I'm not saying that people can't change over time, but it's, hey, we had this person and this character, and now we're going to do away with them and put someone else of a different ethnic group in there And to me, it seems like it's just for representation's sake. When it's like, hey, if we need a new awesome black character, we have our imaginations. We have all of Marvel's budget behind it. Let's make an awesome black character. Let's make an awesome Asian character. They created Miss Marvel because they needed an awesome Middle Eastern character. And so to me, that's the way to go, as opposed to, well, we're going to continue to do this, but we're going to swap this race for that race and say, hey, learn to love it. And if you don't like it, we're Marvel and we're Disney and we've got all your money anyway, and your opinion doesn't matter. So, you know, to me, that's the way to go.
No, I like that. And then that's a really good idea, you know, just saying kind of like the Avengers no more. And then that's how they go back and say, okay, forget about the Avengers for a while. We're going to do X-Men and this whole story arc and bringing those side stories in. That's pretty clever. All right, let me go back. All right, just going to finish out with a couple of friendly ones. We're already way over time. I just always want to call out some comments that I've gotten over the past couple of weeks since our last Chatterday. One was from the YOLO Park, which was the 2-foot Optimus Prime that I reviewed. And Texas Beast says, Lou and Atlas MP10s, oversized MP10. That's the huge MP10 that they had sold for a while. They had the Captain America Deco one as well. Said only 2 feet. How quaint. I thought that was funny. And then this is for the parkour, the Fans Toys Cliff Jumper. I talked about wanting paint in the mouse so it doesn't look just the same colors. And he said, Cape and Cow says, yes, paint inside the mouse. And then I just joked, yeah, I knew there'd be somebody else who would agree with me. So what other parenting tips do you have for misbehaving children, as if paint in the mouse is how I deal with my bad kids? I don't. But that's just how my sense of humor goes. Abigail Ham said, finally, a reviewer that acknowledges that MP45 Bumblebee's backpack isn't that bad when I talked about it in comparison to parkour. And then the last one is... I like the last one was Janice Jackie. The only reason I highlighted this is not really an odd one, but the question was, will there be a parkour video soon? Which is not an odd question in and of itself, but it was a question that was posed on one of my toy hunts, which had nothing to do with anything Fans Toys Masterpiece or anything. But it just goes to show you that Fans Toys fans are going to be Fans Toys fans in the comment section, regardless of the video, regardless of what's going on. But that's it for comment time. The last thing I wanted to do is something new. I just wanted to highlight the contributors. So a lot of folks have been donating over the past couple of years since they started doing super chats and donations on YouTube. I've always been pushing to the point that you definitely don't need to do that. But if you do, I wanted to recognize you guys as much as I can. So these are the contributors that have contributed to my channel in some way, shape, or form since January 2023. But I also wanted to do a running tally of the top 3 contributors. So I'll be doing that every month, at least on the Chatterdays. I might do it on some other occasions as well when I do kind of podcast style things like this. But thanks to the top 3 of so far of King Rouse Reviews with a whopping $19.97, Fang the Win with $15.92, and Princeton Phalanx 59 at $14. You guys are super generous. The others, G Tony, Deluxe Baldwin, JP Turner, Baker Jin, Jermaine Sutton, TM Reviews, The Rusty Mechanic, Alex B, Yalta, Xenomorph, Ridiculous Badger, Prime Max, Haley's 56, Matt McCardle, Anthony Brown Jr. who's with us. Okay, see you, Surnap. I never know how to pronounce that. And Freakenstein. I'm not going to be able to read out the names every single time, but I will keep a running tally. I will do it by month moving forward, aside from the 2023 running tally. And thank you, Slow DK, for also donating just now. So you'll have a head start on next month. So again, just a quick recognition to those of you who contribute. Again, you don't have to do this, but when you do, I want to make sure that I give the proper thanks and recognition. Also, I've been doing that in Discord. If you're on the Discord channel and you've donated, there's a purple name. If you've donated, I assign you a special role so people know that you are a contributor to my channel. All right. And that's it. Next time, we'll be back in 1 month. It's always the third Thursday. Dang. Shoki dropping $20, wanting to be the top contributor of 2023.
Shout out Shoki.
In one big swoop. Check out Shoki's channel. I just met him, but obviously very generous. So I'll have to update that very shortly for next month. That will be on the third Thursday. Again, we're doing Chatterdays now on a regular basis instead of just sporadically when I had time. It's going to be the third Saturday of every month moving forward. So season 2, episode 4 will be next month on the third Saturday. We don't have a topic yet, but again, if you want to be involved in Chatterday, want to join like Mariano did for the first time, or like Anthony or Rusty did for the first time when they did last year, the easiest way is to join my Discord channel. There's a link in the description below. It's very easy to join. It's just a place to hang out, talk about random things. If you want to sell things, you want to buy things, talk about wrestling, talk about figures that are Transformers, non-Transformers. We also do a deals alert kind of thing. So we can share deals that we find from different stores or Amazon, Shozi, Toy Dojo, whatever else is going on, just so you can be up to date on that kind of stuff. But it's just a chill place to hang out. No pressure. But if you join, I would love to see you guys join. We always have a lot of interesting opinions and just random conversations. So again, thank you so much. That's going to be it for this month's episode of Chatterday. We'll be back next month. Thank you to Mariano, Anthony B. Brown, and Rusty, who had to leave. Let me remove this really quickly. Any last parting words before we sign off, Mariano?
It was fun. Thank you for letting me be a part of this, Anthony. It was cool. I've seen other videos, and I've seen you like in the chat over here, like for Pakes, and it's like, okay, is this the same Anthony Brown? And it's like, cool, it is. And congratulations to Rusty Mechanic again, 1,000 subscribers, and this was fun. I would like to come back.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mariano. Again, always welcome, Anthony. Always a respected guest. Always have really good opinions and things that I never think of. It's so funny because sometimes we're just like in sync, and I'm like, oh, I always head nod with you. But then there are some things that you say that just blow me away. So, any last parting words on the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything else?
Mariano, great to meet you over video, right in person. I know that we kind of went back and forth on a couple of things, but again, this is the fun of this, right? Like we won't agree on everything all the time, like Pake said, but you're an awesome guy. Glad to have you here in the group. Again, Pake, thanks for hosting this. Thanks for allowing us weirdos to join your channel. I think now that you put the donation up, tally up there at the top, you're going to make a whole lot more money for people competing to get the top spot. I'm not going to lie. I was tempted to just drop a dub like really quick just so I could have my name at the top of the list. So, but man, this is so much fun. This is so great.
It's okay, Mariano.
I think that this is how he's going to fund his next 2-foot-tall Transformer is with this donation list. But man, this is so great. This is so fun. I always love being here. So again, to everyone that watched, thank you. Smash the like. Catch us and the other people in the chat on all our different channels. Let's support each other. Help us all make some more money, right? Because YouTube pays you, and other platforms pay you for what you do. So you support Pake, we can all support you, and let's continue to grow the community. So it's all love.
Excellent closing words. With that, we're going to end Chatterday Season 2, Episode 3. We'll see you next month. Again, I'll be back this week with a bunch of reviews. If you guys saw my post, I got a bunch of stuff. 3 masterpieces. I got the Legends Scale Omega from Pengu Toys. I got some Imagination Works Luffy. What else did I get? Oh, I also got Motif, which is a TFCon Rewind. I'm also getting a couple of other things in the next coming weeks, so it's gonna be super busy. I announced it on the Rusty Mechanics show, but I probably will be doing a collaboration on shirts with Madhouse Toys. So you guys saw that I was wearing the second of the Quintesson shirts, and he hasn't released all 5 yet. So he's been struggling to figure out how to do that. So we might do a collab there and start offering the Quintesson shirts on this channel. So I'll keep you informed of that. But even if that doesn't pull through, I think I am going to try to do some other shirts, collaborations. I haven't really thought about doing that because I didn't think anybody was interested. But I think if we can do cool designs and stuff like that and make them available to folks, it would be a disservice not to do it. So with that, we're going to be back with more stuff next month. But even this week, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button because I'm going to do probably 4 or 5 videos next week in and of itself. So more content coming. Thanks a lot, everyone. With that, hope you guys have a good one. Bye.